don't see the students that you are today. What I see is architects, doctors, engineers, teachers. I see my leaders of tomorrow, our leaders of tomorrow. That's you. But in order to be our leaders tomorrow, then you have to work for it today. And one of the things that you have to really decide to do is to finish your school. Minorities today are dropping out of school without a high school, without a diploma, at a rate of 30%. And my question is very simple. If you are going to be abandoning the school system at a rate of 30%, where are our doctors and architects and engineers and lawyers and teachers? And that's what I'm talking about when I say there is a big difference between having a wish and having a dream. How many of you want to be professionals? Terrific, I love that. That's the attitude we need. And if you want to be professionals, you have to start today. My son is a doctor. When he was only this tall, he wanted to be a doctor. And everything he did it with one thing in mind. I want to be a doctor. And he is today a very successful doctor. And I am sure that there are a lot of doctors in this room. First line of thinking. Today, my behavior in school. Do I do my homework? Do I do it right? How much am I going to have in this exam? Is it 70 or is it 80 or is it 100? And truthfully, you want 100. You should not, when it comes to yourself, you should not settle for anything but the best, because you are the best. You know what? Each one of you is like a diamond. Have that power. And that power you get here is transferred to you by your teachers. Let's give all your teachers a big hand. The problem is reaching our dreams. And what we do in this program is try to motivate you to develop higher levels of interest for your education, for your school education. And then you might say, yes, but it's very hard. Well, life is hard, and life is not supposed to be easy. You will hear from your two speakers. One comes from Costa Rica, another one was born in New York City, but his parents come from Puerto Rico. As well as you could hear from all the adults and the teachers in this room, none of us had it easy. Life is not supposed to be easy. Life is about discipline and work. Let me tell you what's going to happen. This gentleman and this lady, these two professionals are going to be sharing with you some of their life experiences. And then we're going to ask you to do something that I know you love to do. We're going to ask you to write an essay. You know, I tip my hat to you. You are a terrific audience. Usually I get booed when I come to this part of the show. But let me tell you, I just told you that life is about work. And when you work, well, you get compensated somehow. So what's going to happen is, we are going to ask you to write an essay. And then the school will give us those essays. School administration will give us the essays. And we have a committee of educators that is going to select the best 3 essays of that bunch. And the authors of those essays are going to be invited to a dinner with your parents, with your teachers, with your brothers and sisters of age. And you're going to get an award, and that's going to be your night. That night is not going to be about mom and pop. That night is not going to be about my teachers. That night is going to be about you. You are the star of that show. About this year, maybe 10, 15 schools will be participating. 3 students, sometimes 4 from each school. It's a wonderful night, and it's going to be in the Radisson. Some time ago, kids from this school were our recipients of that award, and that is a wonderful night. So you see, you work, you get compensated somehow, directly, indirectly, sooner or later. But I have a question for you. See, at my age, it's very easy to forget things. So what I want to do is, I want to see the 3 winners. The 3 people that are going to be invited for dinner in June with the parents and the teachers. I want to see their hands. Let me see those hands. Wow. Very, very good. I'm proud of you. Terrific. Okay, I have a few faces in my mind already. And I'm going to hold you to that. I'm going to see if you really meant that. See? Again, a wish is not a dream. A wish is a myth. However, a commitment is something different that, yes, I'd like to do it. So I have already in my mind a few faces registered. And I'm going to see if you really just want to be nice, you know. I'm going to go with the group and raise your hand. Or you're really committed to be invited. Come mid-June to the Radisson Hotel with your family for dinner, and you're going to get an award. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call the first speaker. Please make mental notes. Your teachers would be giving you the guidelines for that essays. So you make mental notes. And I'm sure you're going to hear some very interesting things from the speakers. And we say, ladies first. So why not invite this very attractive young lady? Her name is Glenda Baker. And she comes from Costa Rica. Mrs. Baker. I'm sorry.
They usually confuse me with baker, but I bark, I don't bake. I'm so excited to be here today. Every time I speak in front of people, I get nervous. You can see I'm nervous today because I'm definitely in front of wire. I'm definitely in front of leaders of tomorrow, as what Johnny said. I know there are presidents here, doctors, professors, teachers, lawyers, and gorgeous people, like this lady say I'm gorgeous. You have it on your t-shirt. How many of you would like to be a doctor? How many of you would like to be a teacher? How many of you would like to be an attorney? Well, what about a landscaping? They make money too. Construction worker? Well, I have good news for you. To be a doctor, you have to have a teacher, right? So for me, a teacher is very important because the teacher has to teach the doctor to become a doctor. So take that in mind too. We need teachers. And your teachers, as old Johnny said, they're here to let you go through school. I'm going to give you a little bit of my story. I am the daughter of a pastor, and I have 5 brothers and no sisters. Do you know what that means? What? I was the baby of the house? I am the only girl, but what that means as being the only girl? That's one. Another one? Huh? That's a good one. I had to curse. Yeah, you're right. What do you think that means? I was the baby of the house. One more. You're right. That's definitely. And what it means being a daughter of a pastor. What? I was blessed. Thank you. That's definitely. Anything else? I was spoiled. Wow, that's good. Yes, all of that. It means all of that. But it means also that because I'm the only sister and the only daughter, my brothers had expectation of me. They wanted me to be the best. They wanted me to shine so they could show out that they have a sister, right? And that means that for me was a challenge. So when I started school, I was like 4 and a half. I went to kindergarten, 4 and a half. I already knew how to read and I knew how to write in 2 languages. Because my brothers would come home with their homework and I would sit next to them. And I learned how to read and write in English and in Spanish before I went to school. So when I was in kinder, maybe about 2 or 3 months after, I took a book and I started reading the book. And my teacher saw me and he said, "Are you reading that book?" I said, "Yes." But he thought that I was memorizing the book. I was in kinder. So he brought another book and gave it to me. And I read it. He started getting excited. He thought that he just discovered. So she said, the most I would let her go is to 1st grade. So they passed me to 1st grade. To don't tire you with the story, I was 16 years old when I started college. I'm telling you this because I made myself some goal. As though Johnny Torres said, dreams and wishes different. I wanted to be somebody. Believe me, everybody wants to be somebody. Isn't it true? Yes. Everybody wants to be somebody no matter what. And no one should tell you that you're not going to be somebody. I used to, I believe it or not, I wanted to be in sales. Anybody like sales? Well, I don't know why. Everybody has something they want to be when they're young. I used to cook donuts in school before I go into school to go and sell it at school to make money. Isn't that exciting? That's me. I wanted to be in sales. Today I'm in sales, but I wanted to be in sales. I thought that sales is the most exciting job because you live by, how would I say, by the mercy of God. You don't know what you're going to have tomorrow. It builds character because you have to learn how to deal with your customers. You have to pay attention to your customer needs. When I came to the United States, I had 2 daughters. I had just divorced from my husband, so I decided to come away from Costa Rica. I'm from Costa Rica. Any Costa Ricans here? I'm alone. That's okay. I came here in 1981. So, by myself on vacation, I studied business administration in Costa Rica, and I was working at a hotel by the name of Hotel Irazu. I was in charge of the reservation department. So I decided to take a vacation, and I came to the United States in 1981. When I boarded that plane, I felt like I had taken off my shoulder a box of stones. And you know what was those box of stones? My brothers, my fathers, my mom, everybody wants to tell me what's the best thing, or I'm the best. I wanted to be individual. I wanted to be myself. She said, "You crazy? What do you mean?" She said, "In order for you to work here, you have to have a social security, and you don't have one. The only thing you can do is you have to go and work as a housekeeper." As a housekeeper. I left the housekeeper in Costa Rica in my house. But you know, I would say thank God for one thing. One thing was good being the daughter of a pastor. My father taught me that you have more richness when you are spiritually humble, when you understand other people. I don't look down at my housekeeper. So consequently, I did not look down at myself as a housekeeper. I saw myself an opportunity to feed my daughters. That was more important to me. When I decided to stay here in the United States, I had a goal. And that for me is like a light there that was shining to me, that I will never will allow anyone to tell me not to look at it. That shining light was that I was going to put my daughters through school by myself. So I started working as a housekeeper. I worked as a housekeeper for 5 years. Thank God the family said they saw that I wasn't a housekeeper. So they decided to help me get myself through. So they decided to let me go into the world on my own. That was scary in the United States, to be out there on your own as a woman. I had 3 strikes against me. You know what are they? Anybody want to tell me? What is it? Well, I'm a woman, that's one, unfortunately in the United States. What's the other one? I was foreigner, yes. Let's make it 4. What's the other one? Hispanic. And the other one? The one that everybody sees and don't know that I'm Hispanic. I was black. That's right. That's right. I'm from a Spanish culture, but I'm a black person. I had all of those strikes against me. So I had to go out there in the world and work that out. But you know what thing? One thing is that I learned to respect myself and respect others. That is very important, and let others respect me. You cannot demand respect if you don't respect yourself. And I tell you what that means. That means that you conduct yourself the right way so others can see you. That means that in your terms, if you get to school early, others will know that person come to school early. What's your name? Shanae come to school early. You know, Shanae would have a fame that she always at school on time. That's the respect you create. I create respect like that. The way I go, the way I conduct myself, people would always respect me because I carry myself with respect. So, what happened now, I was out on the street, right? That's the last part I said. I was put out on the street. I started working because I have my background at hotel, I started working in a school as a hotel instructor. It didn't last that much because you know why? I wasn't speaking English very well. I was still chopping the English. I still do, but the students were Americans and they could not understand half of what I was saying, so they decided to fire me. That's okay. You have to go through a couple fires before you get to the point where you want to be. Remember that you will always sometime go through negative things to come to the positive part. After that, I decided to work at the Hilton Hotel as a night auditor. It didn't work. It worked like about a year because I couldn't sleep at night. Behind my apartment, I had a neighbor that likes to listen to music during the day when I'm supposed to sleep. So I wasn't able to sleep for a while. I used to take pills and I said, that's not right. So I decided to quit. You know when I quit? One night I was so sleepy. You know what it is to be a night auditor? You have to carry all the numbers of the hotel. And I was sleepy one night and I decided to go into the linen closet to sleep. Just for a couple minutes, I told my coworker, I'm just going to sleep for about half an hour. Keep an eye on everything for me. I don't know when I heard somebody snoring. Who is snoring? And my coworker come and wake me up. Glenda, what? You're snoring. I was the one snoring and I was hearing myself. That means I said, this is it, I'm quitting. I can't deal with this job. So after that, I decided to working at the Hilton. I go from job to job just to see if I could make it. I work at the Marriott. Meanwhile, the most important thing is that I was putting my daughters through school. I have two daughters. When one was small, she always knew how to answer me. And I said to her, you going to be an attorney. Because you always have a plaster for every sore. My father used to say that. And she said, and I'm going to be a very good attorney. Needless to say, she is an attorney today. I'm very proud to say that I did put her through school. That's the youngest daughter. My older daughter is a doctor. I'm very proud of that, and I say it because I put them to school on my own, not to show off, but to tell you that if you do have a goal and you work at it, you will accomplish it. Most of all, when my mother feels maybe sorry for me, my cousins criticized me that I wasn't going to make it, or my mother said, is this too much for you, Linda? It's too much. You need to get married. No, maybe not. But what I need to do is get my daughter through school. And I'm a grandmother now. I have a 2-year-old granddaughter, but I'm preparing her for something in the future. So please, we're here today not only to tell you about our story, we're here today to motivate you to be in school. I used to tell my daughters when they were studying, I used to always write in their books, in their notebooks, between good, better, and best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better the best. They always knew that all the years they were going to school, between good, better, and best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better the best. Being the best doesn't mean you being better than somebody else. Being the best is because it's something that makes you feel good. You're not here on this earth because you just popped up by chance. You're here because the good Lord wanted you to be here. And there is something that you have to do for Him in this world. Thank you.
Very, very good. All right. I've heard some time ago somebody said, if life gives you lemon, you make lemonade. And that is exactly what happened to our speaker. She came to the United States. But she came to the United States and she thought that it was the platform that she needed to further herself in life and to educate her 2 daughters. Instead, she got a lemon. But listen carefully to what she said. The only job that she could find at the time was to be a housekeeper. But she didn't see a housekeeper's job. She saw an opportunity to feed her 2 daughters. Let's give them a big hand. Now, something else. She said, I have 3 strikes against me. She mentioned that strike number 1, she was a woman. Thanks God for that. Strike number 2, she was a Hispanic. Strike number 3, she was black. And you know what? Again, think of this. The color of your skin or your country of origin should not be an impediment for you to dream and for you to make your dreams come true. She had 3 strikes, she said, against her, but she was well armed. With what? With knowledge. Knowledge that came from where? From her education. She's got a business administrator's degree from the university in Costa Rica. So she was armed with knowledge. She was armed with the best and the only word Now we should all carry knowledge which you obtain in the classroom and from the books. And then what happened was that using all these negatives and putting them in perspective and disciplining herself, she ended up hitting a home run. Her two daughters are, one is a doctor, the other one is a lawyer. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a young lad. His family come from Puerto Rico, although he was born in the Bronx, as in New York, as I tell you. But this young man, despite the fact that today he is a state employee here in Jersey, he's an architect. And he comes also from a very humble family. Let me tell you the story. Let's welcome this young, good-looking man. His name is Mr. Alice.
Vice Principal Amatura, Severa, teachers, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rafael Hernandez. My parents come from Puerto Rico. My mother, an orphan at the age of 2. She lost her parents, was raised by an aunt in Puerto Rico, in Ceiba, Puerto Rico. My father, Luis Alicea, born in Sabana Grande, Puerto Rico. Lost his mother at the age of 5. Okay? They both, my mom was fortunate to finish high school. My father wasn't as fortunate. He only went up to the 4th grade. Why? Because he had to stop going to school to work the sugar canes. Times were hard in Puerto Rico. Okay? So they both migrated here in the early 50s. They both, however, being that they were malnutrition, they both were diagnosed with tuberculosis. Now keep in mind, at this time, they didn't know each other. Okay? So it wasn't until 1952, where at the hospital, where they were being treated for their tuberculosis, that's where they met. And at that time, not only you were treated, but you were also isolated. And the term that they used was quarantine. Okay? And where we used to go, they sent you upstate New York to a camp. Isolated from the public, because they didn't want the people that were sick to infect the other people. And that's where they met. They were married March 13, 1954. Out of that marriage, they had 5 children. 3 boys and 2 girls. I am the 4th child. Okay? I tell you all of this because it's very important that you know where you come from. That you know your family's history. Okay? I was watching and looking at, around when Johnny asked, who want to be the winners? And the majority raised their hand. And I'm very happy. But I'm challenging those who didn't raise their hand. Okay? Because for whatever reason you didn't raise your hand, to me you gave me the impression that you're giving up. And I don't want you to give up. Because although my parents were poor, my father was the only one who worked. Okay? My mother was the one who took care of us at home. She walked us to school, walked us from lunch back to the house, walked us back to school, and picked us up at 3 o'clock. This was every day. However, never wanted us to forget our culture. So, we taught our parents English because that's what we learned in school. Okay? And my mother taught us Spanish. So I can read, write, and speak the Spanish language. And that I owe to her. We lived I was born and raised in Manhattan, by the way. Not the Bronx. Nothing wrong with the Bronx, but I was born in Manhattan. In a section called Hell's Kitchen. Okay? Those of you who want to know the history about Hell's Kitchen, I'm sure you can go to the library. Hell's Kitchen got its name because of the gang that used to be there, the Hell's Angels. Okay? That, however, didn't keep us from going to school. Okay? We went to school every day. And eventually, my mom enrolled me in this program called the Head Start program. Back in 1965, the wife of President Johnson, Lady Bird Johnson, implemented this program for the inner city kids and low-income children. And I want to show you something. This, what I'm holding here, it's my Head Start certificate from 1965. But I can prove it. This is a testimony that just because you belong to the Head Start program, you can succeed. Just because you're in the Head Start program and you're a low-income child, it shouldn't stop you from reaching your dreams. Okay? From there, I went to public school because we couldn't afford private school. My father was the only one working. So, second grade, my second grade teacher, by the way, I don't know if you remember your teachers, but I remember my teachers. First grade, Miss Whiteside. Second grade, Miss Feynman. Third grade, Miss Roach. Fourth grade, Miss Boyle. Fifth grade, Miss Miller. Sixth grade, Mr. Moriarty. Seventh grade, Mr. Berkowitz. Eighth grade, Miss Talabal. In ninth grade, Mr. Economies. In high school, it was different because you never had a teacher. You always changed rooms. But those were my teachers. And my favorite teacher was my second grade teacher. Why? Why I say this? Because she took the time to realize what my interests were. It's a very difficult job that the teachers have. But one thing I failed to mention, born and raised in New York City, I was also a product of the New York Housing Authority. And for those who don't know what the housing authority is, those are the projects. Okay? So, and I don't know if any one of you have seen the movie West Side Story. You've seen West Side Story, so you know what I'm talking about. Hell's Kitchen, my neighborhood, was hell. That's where they got the movie from. West Side Story. So all the gangs and one thing, and you couldn't go from one block to another without getting beat up. That's what I grew up with. That's how I grew up. Thinking about my teachers, I owe a lot to them, and I'm very grateful. Teachers are the architects of the future. That's why I tell you, it's not easy being a teacher. Teachers are the architects of the future. Depending on what they teach you, you will teach others. And I don't know how I can say this. And I'll be ending with this.